Imagine this. Tomorrow morning you wake up and find a message on your phone. The sender's name is familiar because it's you, not today's you. 10 years from now, the message is short, just 6 words. Why didn't you start earlier? That's it. No explanation, no context, just a question. But immediately you know exactly what he's talking about. The business idea, the book, the gym membership, the course you never finished, the opportunity you kept postponing, the version of your life that was always supposed to begin soon. You start defending yourself. You were busy. You were tired. The timing wasn't right. You needed more information. You were going to start next month. But future, you isn't interested because from his perspective, you said the same thing every year. And here's the strange part. Psychology suggests that the reason you keep doing this may have nothing to do with laziness. In fact, your brain may be treating future you like a complete stranger. Not metaphorically, literally. And once you understand that, procrastination starts looking very different. Most people think procrastination is simple. You know what you should do. You don't do it. End of story. But if it were really that simple, nobody would procrastinate. Think about it. You already know exercise is good for you. You already know saving money is important. You already know that starting earlier is usually better than starting later. You don't need more information. You already have the information. So why do intelligent people keep delaying things that obviously matter? The answer begins with a strange battle happening inside your head. Right now, one side of your brain is ancient. Its job is survival. Avoid pain, seek comfort, stay safe. It doesn't care about your dream business. It doesn't care about your 5-year plan. It cares about today. The other side is newer. This is where your ambitions live, your goals, your plans, your late-night promises to yourself. Most of the time, they work together until something becomes emotionally uncomfortable, then everything changes. Imagine you've decided to start a YouTube channel. For weeks, you're excited. You imagine success, subscribers, freedom, a completely different life. Then comes the moment to upload. Suddenly, your brain starts asking questions. What if nobody watches? What if people judge you? What if this proves you're not as talented as you think? Now, something important happens. Your brain doesn't treat those thoughts as ideas. It treats them as threats. And your emotional system immediately offers a solution. Avoid the threat. Watch another video, check your phone. Start tomorrow. Do anything except the thing creating discomfort. And the crazy part, it works. The anxiety drops, the tension disappears. You feel better. Your brain gets rewarded. Not for progress, for avoidance. That's why procrastination becomes addictive. Because every delay solves a problem, at least for the next few minutes. But eventually the future arrives. The deadline, the missed opportunity, the regret, the version of you who has to deal with all the consequences, which raises a question. Why doesn't your brain care more about that person? This is where scientists discovered something fascinating. Researchers asked people to think about themselves. Then they asked them to think about complete strangers. Different brain activity appeared. No surprise there. Then they did something unexpected. They showed people aged photographs of themselves. Future versions. Older versions. The person they would become years from now. And something strange happened. The brain responded to those future selves in ways surprisingly similar to how it responded to strangers. Think about that. The person who will inherit every decision you make today doesn't fully feel like you. Not emotionally, not instinctively. To part of your brain, future you is somebody else. And if you think that's strange, it gets worse. Imagine a friend came to you and said, "I'm going to ignore my health for the next 6 months." Most people would tell them not to. If a friend said, "I'm going to keep putting off something important, even though I know I'll regret it later," most people would think that's a terrible idea. If a friend said, "I'm going to create a problem today and leave somebody else to deal with it," you'd probably call that irresponsible. And yet people do these things to their future selves every day. Why? Because the consequences don't feel real yet. The future version of you becomes almost like a fictional character. Someone who will magically find the motivation, someone who will finally get organized, someone who will somehow solve all the problems you're creating today. But then tomorrow arrives, and that person turns out to be you. The same fears, the same doubts, the same unfinished list, except now they're carrying one more problem that yesterday's version decided not to solve. Suddenly, procrastination makes sense. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you're handing the problem to someone else. The gym gets handed to future you. The debt gets handed to future you. The stress gets handed to future you. The unfinished dream gets handed to future you. And because future you feels distant, the cost feels small. It's easy to sacrifice a stranger, especially when that sacrifice makes you feel better right now. But here's where things become tragic. The people who suffer most from procrastination are often the people with the biggest dreams. That sounds backwards. Shouldn't ambition solve the problem? Actually, ambition often makes it worse, because the bigger the dream, the more painful failure becomes. A small goal doesn't threaten your identity. A big one does. The business matters. The book matters. The promotion matters. The dream matters. And because it matters, it can hurt you. As long as the dream stays inside your head, it's perfect, untouched, unchallenged, still possible. The moment you begin, reality gets involved, and reality can be brutal. So your brain makes a deal. Protect the dream, delay the risk, start tomorrow. Then comes the trap almost every ambitious person recognizes: the deadline miracle. Weeks of delay, weeks of stress, weeks of doing absolutely nothing. Then suddenly, one night before the deadline, you become a machine. Hours of work appear from nowhere, and somehow you finish. Your brain learns the wrong lesson. It doesn't learn procrastination caused suffering. It learns everything worked out. And because the work you produced that night was actually good, the lesson gets reinforced. You tell yourself you work best under pressure. You tell yourself the stress is part of the process. You tell yourself this is just how you operate. But what you're really doing is teaching your brain that delay is a successful strategy, which guarantees the cycle repeats again and again and again, until one day the deadline miracle doesn't arrive and something important never gets built. The next time you catch yourself saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," remember something strange. Tomorrow isn't a place. Tomorrow is a person who will inherit every decision you make today. The missed workout, the unfinished project, the business that never launched, the call you never made, the opportunity you never took. And the strangest part, your brain may never fully see that person as you, which means every day, without realizing it, you're making decisions for someone you barely know. The only question is whether they'll be grateful for them, or spend the next 10 years asking the same question. Why didn't you start earlier?